You're listening to the Kirkintilloch Herald, a Q & Review recording service podcast, brought to you by our team of volunteers currently recording from their homes across Scotland. Whether you're listening via the BWBF online players, the telephone app, or our brand new Alexa skill, please phone us on 0141 772 3976 to feedback on what you want us to provide and improve upon. Please also join your family and friends in being our audio ambassadors and share our Facebook, Twitter and Instagram all at Q & Review. That's at symbol CUEANDREVIEW.
Q & Review would like to ask our listeners to remember to return the USB sticks. If we do not receive the USB sticks back, it reduces our ability to send out the following set and keep you updated on local news. To return a USB stick, simply place the USB within the yellow envelope and turn the laminated address label over to show the Q & Review address. It can then be placed in any post box or returned to any post office. Thank you for listening.
You're listening to the Kirkintilloch Herald podcast, Wednesday the 30th of March 2022. This week in history, March 29th, 1981, the first London Marathon was won by Norwegian Inge Simonsen and American Dick Beardsley, crossing the tape hand in hand. On this day last year, scientists said a newly discovered black hole approximately 55,000 times the mass of the Sun could be an ancient relic created before the first stars and galaxies formed. March 30th, 1964, the seaside resort of Clacton was the scene of pitched battles by gangs of mods and rockers. March 31, 1939, Britain and France pledged to support Poland against any aggression from Hitler's Germany. On this day last year, a see-through face mask that makes lip reading possible was developed by a team at the Cambridge Hospital and approved for NHS use. April the 1st, 1965, Greater London came into being, comprising the City of London plus 32 metropolitan boroughs. On this day last year, a huge inflatable pink cake with candles spouting rainbow flames glided through the Amsterdam canals as the Dutch capital celebrated the 20th anniversary of the world's first legal same-sex marriages. April the 2nd, 1947, the Royal Military Academy at Sandhurst was formed. April the 3rd, 1987, the late Duchess of Windsor's jewels fetched £31 million at auction. Pupils' bake sale in aid of Ukraine raises £900, report by Liz Gallagher. A group of big-hearted youngsters at a primary school in Kirkintilloch got baking to raise almost £1,000 for a charity appeal to help refugees in war-torn Ukraine. The Great Big Fundraising Bake Sale was organised by Holy Family Primary 6 pupils Ella O'Brien, Aviana Connolly and Beth Jameson. Their efforts have been praised by local MSP Rona Mackay, who described them as a credit to their school and their parents. Proud mum to one of the organisers, Kirsty Jameson, said, "The girls worked very hard to plan the menu, make posters, help with the baking and serving customers all afternoon. The bake sale was held outside Ella's house, and Ella's sister Molly and her friends Lily McMichael and Finlay Curry also helped out. The bake sale was held for their friends, family and neighbours to raise money for the DEC charity Humanitarian Ukraine Appeal. So far they have raised an amazing £900. We are thrilled at how generous people have been. We are all very proud of the girls' dedication and the maturity they have showed in thinking about others enduring this terrible war." Local MSP Rona Mackay said, "This is a fantastic achievement by Aviana, Beth and Ella. They worked so hard to raise this incredible sum to help those in Ukraine experiencing the horror of war, and they are a credit to their school and their parents. Huge congratulations to everyone in Holy Family School and the wider community who contributed to this wonderful effort." The DEC is made up of 15 member charities who are experts in humanitarian aid and specialise in different areas of disaster response. The vital funds raised by the Holy Family Primary School pupils will help to provide food, water, shelter, healthcare and protection for those fleeing the war in Ukraine. A spokesperson for DEC said, "Families fleeing the conflict have left their homes with only the items they were able to carry." At Ukraine's borders with Poland, Romania, Hungary, Slovakia and Moldova, huge numbers are arriving. In many places there are long waits to cross and scant facilities waiting for them, with temperatures dropping below freezing overnight. And that report was by Liz Gallagher.
Another award for Lenzie Deli. The award-winning Billingtons of Lenzie have picked up yet another prize. The team at the popular local deli have been named Best Specialised Retailer in the rescheduled Grand Final of the 2020 Scotland Business Awards, postponed because of the COVID pandemic. More than 700 finalists converged on the Hilton, Glasgow for the National Gold Awards. Billington's dedicated the award to co-owner Sue Billington, who has worked tirelessly ensuring the business has successfully navigated its way through the past 2 difficult years. Billingtons have won a clutch of awards, including a silver for their Lenzie Gin in the 2021 Scottish Retail Food and Drink Awards.
MSP Register for Domestic Abusers. West Scotland MSP Pam Gossel, who lives in Eastern Bartonshire, is planning to bring forward her first members' bill, which would create a register for domestic abusers. The register would work similarly to the Sex Offenders Register, with abusers placed on a database that could see police or local authorities act if a potential victim is at risk. The bill will be brought forward by Pam Gossel MSP and comes as the number of domestic abuse incidents reached their highest level on record, with over 65,000 incidents in 2020-2021 alone. Convicted domestic abusers would be forced to notify the police if they change addresses or have a passport, so they can be closely monitored upon their release from prison. Offenders subject to court orders would also have to complete mandatory rehabilitation to stop further criminal behaviour. It is hoped that bringing in the register would give vital information to local authorities and the police and prevent future abuse. A public consultation lasting at least 12 weeks will be launched in the coming year, where charities and victims will be able to have their say on the details of the bill. West Scotland MSP Pam Gossel said, "We will also introduce designated BAME engagement officers to ensure that support is accessible for every community in Scotland. A one-size-fits-all approach to their domestic abuse does not work in the multicultural Scotland we have in 2022. I am keen to hear first-hand from victims and charities to ensure we get this vital legislation right." Queen's Awards. Local businesses are encouraged to take part in this year's prestigious Queen's Award for Enterprise. The application process opens in May this year. Promoted by the Lieutenancy of Lanarkshire, the Queen's Awards are among the top awards for UK businesses and are a globally recognised Royal Seal of Approval for UK companies. The awards for enterprise have been operating since 1966, developing across 4 categories: innovation, international trade, sustainable development and promoting opportunity through social mobility. Terry Curry, chairperson for the Lanarkshire Lieutenancy, said, "Previous winners have said the main reason they entered is for this prestige it brings to their business." For more, call 0207 215 6880. 370 win at PIP appeal. An article by Joanna Morris, data reporter, who can be contacted at mbherald@jnscotland.co.uk. That's mbherald @jnscotland.co.uk. Hundreds of people in Eastern Bartonshire have taken the UK government to tribunal over disability benefit payments, and more than half won, figures show. Since 2013, hundreds of thousands of benefits decisions have been overturned across the UK after disabled people a complex and distressing appeal system to win their case at tribunal, disability charities say. Anyone denied personal independence payment, which covers the additional expenses faced by people with disabilities and is worth between £23 and £150 a week, can request a reconsideration. If someone is still unhappy with the result of this, they can further appeal it at an independent tribunal. Department for Work and Pensions data shows roughly 640 cases from East Dunbartonshire were taken to a tribunal between April 2013 and the end of 2021. Around 58% saw the DWP's decision overturned in their favour over the period. Nationally, claimants have won more than 2/3 of the cases that have reached tribunal since 2013. Nina Zarak, lead policy advisor at Charity Scope, said far too many disabled people received the wrong decision first time around and were left without financial support as a result. She said an enormous number of disabled people's lives had been thrown into turmoil by failures of the benefit system, with many were not well enough to face the mental and physical stress and exhaustion of taking their cases to appeal. Overall, the DWP assessed 6,250 applications for PIP from people in East Dunbartonshire between 2013 and 2021, with the benefit awarded in 4,313, 69% of cases. Dissatisfaction with initial decisions led to 1,480 people submitting an initial mandatory reconsideration request, with 20% of those awards changed as a result. Both Scope and Charity Disability Rights UK said they have worked with many disabled people who had been assessed by DWP workers without appropriate knowledge of their condition. Ken Butler for Disability Rights UK said this resulted in poor and inaccurate initial medical assessments by people who did not understand the nature and effects of disabilities. Ms. Huszarik, Huszarik, added, "We hear about assessors having to Google people's conditions during the assessment because they've never even heard of it. Disabled people must have the right to an assessor who understands the true impact of their condition and how it might fluctuate. To make the system work, disabled people must get the right decision first time round." Mr. Butler said a tribunal hearing was often the first time a claimant felt properly listened to. A DWP spokesman said the overturned cases represented just a fraction of millions of decisions made following assessments, and said the majority of PIP decisions were right. He added all assessments were carried out by professionals trained to consider the impact of an individual's condition or disability. But we are exploring what more we can do so the welfare system better meets the needs of disabled people through our Health and Disability Green Paper. Deadly Toll of COVID. An article by Patrick Jack, data reporter. More than 300 people in East Dunbartonshire have died from COVID since the pandemic reached the UK 2 years ago. End-of-life charity Marie Curie commemorated 2 years after the first UK-wide lockdown the National Day of Reflection on Wednesday, March 23rd. The charity urged people to come together to remember the lives of those lost. Figures from the National Records of Scotland show that 333 deaths involving COVID-19 were recorded in East Dunbartonshire by March 13th. Of these, 208 occurred in 2020 and 107 in 2021, while 18 have occurred so far this year. The deadliest week of the pandemic so far came in the week beginning May 4th, 2020, when 22 people lost their lives in East Dunbartonshire. The deaths in the area were among 13,563 registered across Scotland up to March 12th. Claire Collins, Marie Curie's bereavement coordinator, said, "There are still millions of people living with the deep trauma of losing a loved one. A minute's silence was held at midday on Wednesday, and people were encouraged to shine a light at 8 p.m. or display flowers in their window to show support. Separate figures from the UK Coronavirus Daily Dashboard reveal the rate of deaths in Eastern Bartonshire within 28 days of a positive coronavirus test, a different measure than that used by the NRS. On March 16, the cumulative death rate, which covers the entire pandemic, stood at 231.7 deaths per 100,000 people in the area, compared to 202.6 across Scotland. The Health Foundation said there have been notably higher excess deaths in the UK over the pandemic compared to the rest of Europe, with some communities particularly hard hit. Dr. Jennifer Dixon, chief executive of the charity, said working-age adults in the poorest parts of the country were almost 4 times more likely to die from COVID-19 than those in the wealthiest areas. We owe it to those who's lost their lives and their families to understand why, and how to build greater resilience against future threats to our health. Open water hidden dangers. Scottish Water is warning local people of the hidden dangers of reservoirs and lochs with the recent spate of warm weather. A Scottish Water spokesperson said, while ponds, lochs and reservoirs may look highly appealing and inviting, particularly on a warm day, there are many hidden dangers that are not immediately obvious. They may be deep and icy cold, the water sending your body into shock in seconds, or there may be hidden obstacles or currents below the surface. Even being near open water can pose a risk, so it is important everyone is aware of the dangers. We do not encourage swimming in our reservoirs, but want people to enjoy their natural beauty safely and responsibly. More info at www.scottishwater.co.uk/responsible-access/enabling-responsible-safety. An 18-year-old boy tragically lost his life in a water incident at Murdoch Country Park on Saturday, March the 19th.
MP. Chancellor pushing more folk into poverty. Local MP Amy Callaghan has said the Chancellor is not going anywhere near far enough to boost household incomes and tackle the spiralling Tory cost of living crisis. As the UK faces one of the worst drops in living standards for decades, Ms Callaghan said the Chancellor had failed to grasp the seriousness of the emergency in his spring statement, instead opting to push more people into poverty by hiking national insurance, slashing universal credit, and imposing a real terms cut to pensions by scrapping the triple lock. The Eastern Bartonshire MP also said the UK government is not going anywhere near far enough to support families, and has called on ministers to follow the Scottish Government's commitment of uprating benefits by 6%, as well as match a game-changing £20 a week Scottish Child payment across the UK. Ms Callaghan also highlighted that the £200 buy now, pay later energy loan, set to come into effect in October, is woefully unfit for purpose and must be turned into a more generous energy grant. Calls for the government to offer more robust measures to tackle the cost of living crisis come after several stark warnings from the third sector organisations. The National Institute of Economic and Social Research has warned that the number of UK households classed as destitute could rise by nearly a third this spring after the UK government implements its national insurance hike. Ofgem also estimates that millions of households will see their energy bills rise by over 50%, with analysis from the Joseph Rowntree Foundation indicating this energy price cap rise will have a harsher impact on the poorest families, who will spend on average 18% of their income after housing costs on energy bills after April. Research from Age UK also suggests that the pensions poverty is set to soar, with 3/4 of older people in the UK, some 9.4 million, worried about the rising cost of living. The MP said, "The Tory cost of living crisis is already having a huge impact on the working families across the UK and, particularly, to families and pensioners already struggling to make ends meet in Eastern Bartonshire. The announcements in the spring statement do not go anywhere far enough to tackle this growing emergency. If anything, the Chancellor has failed to grasp the seriousness of the situation by refusing to match the commitments made by the Scottish Government to increase benefits, introduce meaningful support for families, as well as his unwillingness to scrap the proposed national insurance hike. His plans will simply exacerbate issues. After decades of Tory cuts, austerity and Brexit, the UK government has created a dire scenario for working class families. The UK is one of the most unequal countries in the northwest of Europe and is facing the highest in-work poverty this century. Despite this, by failing to deliver a comprehensive support package in his spring statement, it would appear the Chancellor is more than content to sit on his hands and refuse to tackle the poverty pandemic he and his Tory government have made a reality. A Dream Come True. Report by Liz Gallagher. A cancer survivor who made music as an escape during grueling treatment for the disease has been signed up by a record label. Lindsay Woman Royce McCartney's song My Happy Ending has been snapped up by German record label Boys Deep and was released on Friday, March 25th. Royson, who also completed her treatment for skin cancer last week, said, "The timing couldn't have worked out better. It literally is my happy ending to this chapter of my life." The young Lindsay Woman was diagnosed with skin cancer in December 2020. Royson had surgery to have the skin and lymph nodes removed as the cancer had already spread. She said, "Because it had started to spread, the best option for me was to undergo 1 year of cancer treatment via tablets. I struggled with this a lot as my body just wouldn't accept the treatment. I had a few hospital stays. There were 4 attempts at lowering the dosage, lots of fevers and generally feeling down. Throughout this challenging time, music proved to be a saviour for Royson." She said, "I wrote the song My Happy Ending. It's happy, empowering, and about love. I was trying to be grateful for the love I have in my life, and that's exactly what it manifested." Fast forward 6 months on, and the song has been signed by Boys Deep, a German record label, and to Universal Publishing. "I finished my cancer treatment on the 19th of March, and my song came out on the 25th of March. It's literally my happy ending to this chapter in my life, and the timing couldn't have worked out better, and generally a pure coincidence." Royson added, "I believe everything happens for a reason, and although there has been a hard year, it has given me the break in my life to focus on what I truly want to do. Life is too short to not follow your dream, and I believe if you follow the right path, things will start to work out along the way. I just want to spread my positive to anyone going through a hard time, and allow my music to be their escape for a little while, just like it was mine." And that report was by Liz Gallagher. Breaking child poverty cycle. Local SNP MSP Rona Mackay has welcomed a package of measures by the Scottish Government to break the cycle of child poverty in the area. The Government have announced a rise of a further £5 to the Scottish Child Payment, bringing the total payment to £25 per week per child at the end of the year, after an increase to £20 next week. This move will see the SNP Government's package for 5 family benefits for low-income families now totalling over £10,000 by the time a first child turns 6, and £9,700 for subsequent children. It directly benefits 1,255 children in Eastern Bartonshire, already in receipt of the payment. In contrast, families in England and Wales receive less than £1,800 for the first child, and under £1,300 for subsequent children. Ms Mackay said, "Today's package of measures to tackle child poverty is hugely welcome, and the impact it will have on households in Strathkelson and Bearsden cannot be underestimated." On Wednesday the 30th of March 2022, in Glasgow, sunrise will be at 6:53am and sunset will be at 7:50pm, times British summertime. Scotland, the big picture. Focus on hearts and minds. Report by Julie Curry. Following COP26, there has been a widespread recognition that Scotland has become one of the most nature-depleted countries in the world. According to a recent poll carried out by YouGov, 77% of Scots support rewilding, the large-scale recovery of nature in order to reverse ecological decline and to mitigate the impacts of climate breakdown. Despite this growing support, some people still have concerns about rewilding and the change that it could bring about. Hearts and Minds is a new report, produced by Rewilding Charity Scotland, The Big Picture, which seeks to understand different reactions in rewilding and consider how these might be holding back the restoration of our living systems. Peter Cairns, the charity's executive director, said, "The practical idea of ecological restoration, or rewilding, is a simple one, but the social, cultural and political landscapes it must navigate to succeed are complex. Conversations around changes to the way Scotland's landscapes look and function can sometimes be uncomfortable, hence are mostly avoided. But we face a challenge that binds us together: how to address climate breakdown and ongoing global nature loss. We need to create shared solutions to these shared challenges." Hearts and Minds points out that across the spaces where the rewilding is discussed, most notably social media, there can be a lack of tolerance for different perspectives, with entrenched and passionate opinions from all sides. Rather than allowing issues to be explored, nuance to be understood, and common ground found, these platforms often polarise the discussion and exaggerate differences, says the report. Hearts and Minds explores attitudes towards rewilding amongst farmers, field sports enthusiasts, landowners, rural communities, conservation bodies, and the general public, seeking to understand sources of conflict and recommending how to reconcile differing perspectives. Barriers to the acceptance of rewilding by farmers include concern over how a rewilded landscape works economically and potentially loss of traditional farming practices. Yet the report points out that farmers and rewilders both want and need a healthy environment and thriving rural communities. Similarly, everyone shares a common interest in the clean, healthy river systems. Peter added, "We believe there is much more common ground than is currently portrayed, and much to be gained from this demystifying rewilding, fostering a more mutually respected debate, and highlighting the benefits that large-scale nature recovery offers to everyone." Hearts and Minds doesn't pretend to have all the answers to what is a complex issue, but it does provide a springboard for building bridges, leading to a more inclusive conversation about how Scotland's landscapes could function better to benefit nature, climate and people. More to be done. The Hearts and Minds concludes by stressing that more needs to be done to help different groups navigate the changes rewilding could bring, and recognise the opportunities if it is to gain wider support. Some resistance to rewilding stems from its uncertain outcomes. However, it could offer the best chance to mitigate the challenges already precipitated through climate breakdown, from which there is arguably much more to fear. To read the full report, visit www.scotlandbypicture.com/store/free-downloads hearts-minds.pdf. And to find out more about the charity behind it, visit www.scotlandbypicture.com. Cancer support mapped out and at your fingertips. Report by Julie Curry. A new survey suggests that almost half, 49%, of cancer patients who needed additional support were unable to access services. Research by the Richard Dimbleby Cancer Fund, or DCF, also revealed that a third of those surveyed either weren't aware or could not recall being told about additional help available. In 2018, the charity launched a Cancer Care Map at www.cancercaremap.org, a free, simple-to-use online directory of cancer support services to help people living with cancer find the help they need, wherever they are. It currently has 114 cancer support organisations in Scotland, offering everything from psychological and emotional support, health and wellbeing services, to financial advice and support, and practical help. This includes local hairdressers, counselling services, gyms, transportation services and more. In the last year, more than 100,000 people have visited the website to search for cancer support, and in the last 3 months of 2021, 4,960 people in Scotland visited the website to seek support. Currently, 1,000 people a day across the UK are using the site, but the charity, which is funded solely through public donations, legacies and grants, still has lots of work to do before it reaches everyone living with or affected by cancer. Jonathan Dimbleby, RDCF chair, who had the original idea for Cancer Care Map, said, "This survey reveals a fact that has agitated me for years. When you're diagnosed with cancer, it is a moment of extreme anxiety. After you had your clinical treatment, you almost always need support for weeks, months, and even years ahead. The sole purpose of Cancer Care Map, which is supported by the NHS, is to provide the information you need to help you through this testing journey. Mercifully, early diagnosis and even improving treatments mean that more people are cured or live with cancer and for longer. These individuals need support. Our research shows that many people are missing out on this. Cancer Care Map allows anyone to find out what support is available to them, close to where they live. All it takes is the click of a button. To find out more, visit cancercaremap.org. Fellowship role for Briggs Aileen. Report by Liz Gallagher. A Bishopbriggs-born woman has been elected to the Fellowship of Scotland's National Academy, the Royal Society of Edinburgh, RSE. Professor Aileen Fife is one of the 80 thinkers, researchers and practitioners whose election as Fellows of the RSE has just been announced. The RSE Fellowship comprises around 1,600 experts in the sciences, arts, business, professions and the third sector with links to Scotland. Aileen attended Auchinleck Primary and Laurelbank School before moving to Leeds at the age of 15. She told the Kirkintilloch Herald, "I finished my education at Leeds and then went to the University of Cambridge. My career as an academic then took me to Galway in the west of Ireland, which is just as wet as the west of Scotland, and then to St Andrews University, where I'm now Professor of Modern History." She added she was delighted to have been elected to the RSE. This significant marker of esteem follows hot on the heels of good news from the Liverpool Trust, a UK national grant-making organisation, who have awarded Aileen a major research fellowship for 2022 to 24. Aileen said, "I did all my degrees at Cambridge, where I planned to study the biological natural sciences and ended up falling in love with the history of science. As a result, I'm a firm believer in the value of a broad-based degree structure that enables, even encourages, students to explore new subjects and, if need be, to change direction." She added, "I believe in the importance of learned societies and subject associations, and I enjoy the reflexivity of being a trustee or member of such organisations myself, and studying them in history. I can't help but be aware of the marginal positions that women scholars have historically occupied in such communities, and actively work to mentor and advocate for women in academia." Fellow RSE Professor Alexander Garvey, who also lives in Bishopbriggs, congratulated Aileen on her election. Aileen said, "I was taught Latin and Greek at school by Alex's wife, Jane." Alex is Emeritus Professor at Glasgow University. Fire at flats. A woman was injured after a fire broke out in a block of flats at Springburn on Friday, March the 25th. 4 fire engines and crew attended the scene at Lindsay Terrace after a fire in a bin room was reported just after 8 a.m. The Scottish Fire and Rescue Service, SFRS, confirmed that a female was treated by paramedics. It is not known how severe her injuries were. An SFRA spokesperson said, "We were alerted at 8 AM on Friday, March the 25th, to reports of a building fire at Lindsay Terrace, Glasgow. Operations Control mobilised 4 appliances to the scene to extinguish a fire affecting a bin room. 1 female was assisted in the scene by paramedics. Police Scotland confirmed they were made aware of the fire, but not directly involved." 162 factory staff face an uncertain future. Reported by Liz Gallagher. More than 160 workers at a factory in Kirkintilloch have found themselves facing an uncertain future after the company revealed plans to relocate. The Goala Closures Group site at Old Mill Park Industrial Estate in the town produces caps for whisky and wine bottles. The company revealed that the Kirkintilloch site and another at Bridge of Allen are to be transitioned to one purpose-built flagship factory based in Gartcosh Business Interchange in Lanarkshire. The Kirkintilloch plant's 162 workers were informed of the news last week. It is unclear how the moves will affect local employees. The firm would only say that plans are at a very early stage and that they are dedicated to retaining the skills and commitment of our people. Ken Morgan, General Manager, said, "We will be discussing the project with employees to ensure that they are fully informed of the details. The skills and commitment of our people is what sets us apart, and we are dedicated to retaining this going forward." He added, "The Gartcosh site was chosen for its easy access and central location to best serve our customers. It is our intention to purchase the land, which demonstrates a commitment to employees and customers and allows for growth opportunities to future-proof the business. The vision of the new site is one of the high-performance manufacture, innovation, excellence and sustainability. It will bring additional investment in state-of-the-art equipment and novel technology. Moreover, it will realise improved facilities including laboratories, workshops, eating areas and office space. Our existing sites may have served us well over many years, but none allow us to operate at an optimum level, or reasons including space restrictions and layout." Willie Thompson, United Industrial Officer, the union which represents workers at the plant, said, "United has already been in dialogue with Goala, and negotiations will continue between the company and the union throughout this process. It may be an anxious time for our members, and we will work to ensure that all workers across both sites can be accommodated in the new purpose-built location." And that report was by Liz Gallagher. Brown bin use. Residents are reminded that they can now recycle more plastics than ever in their brown bin. Earlier this month, the council announced a major expansion of the types of plastics that can be included, and from this week, even more will be diverted from landfill. As well as plastic bottles such as shampoo, detergent and drink bottles, the council can now accept additional plastics from its curbside recycling collections, including carrier bags, bread bags and vegetable bags, plastic trays for microwave meals, fruit punnets or biscuits, plastic tubs such as margarine or ice cream tubs, plastic pots like yogurt, puddings and noodles and soup, and clean tinfoil. Residents are also advised items must be clean and empty to ensure that the many tons of plastic make it through the recycling process successfully. Let's talk. Letters page of this week's Kirkintilloch Herald. Please send your letters via email to kirkyherald@jnscotland.co.uk. That's KIRKYHERALD @GNSOTLAND.co.uk. Heads have been buried in the sand that is becoming hotter by the day. Sir, in response to last week's letter from Clark Cross, look around you and then consider these facts. 1. Every living thing you see evolved to live in a climate where there was a maximum of 300 ppm CO2. Most of the levels were lower than this. 2. CO2 accumulates in the atmosphere and radiates some of the heat back from the ground back to it. So it traps the heat. It is part of the natural mechanisms that stop our planet from freezing over. 3. Since the early 1950s, we have exceeded 300 ppm and are currently at an average of 416 ppm. The temperature has risen in response. 4. The natural mechanism for adding excess CO2 is basically volcanic eruptions. Volcanoes emit around 200 million tonnes of greenhouse gases each year. Our ecosystem could handle that. We emit 36 billion tonnes per year. There is an assumption that we can adapt to climate change. That is not an assumption, not a fact. Ignoring climate change is the pipe dream. Mr. Cross might just as well bury his head in the increasingly hot sand. Yours, etc. Leslie Ellis, address supplied. Football challenge for schools in Scotland. Sir, with the days getting longer and temperatures slowly rising, kids can be outside again, doing what all children should, playing. Muddy knees, hide and seek and picnics with teddy bears should be part of every childhood, but there's never been a more challenging time for children. Right now, children are facing conflict, disasters and other crises in countries around the world. And it is children that are often the hardest hit, like the 7.5 million children currently affected by the rapidly escalating conflict in Ukraine. One way to support UNICEF work for all children around the world is taking part in the Soccer Aid Schools Challenge. We are encouraging all schools in Scotland to take part in this fun, active challenge. Pupils design their very own sporty obstacle course, with all fundraising efforts going towards Soccer Aid for UNICEF. By kicking, bouncing, sprinting, skipping, dribbling, or hopping across the playground, schools across the UK will be doing their bit to help children around the world have a childhood full of play. If you think this is something your local school would be interested in, please visit www.socceraid.org.uk/schools to sign up, and you'll receive a free school challenges pack full of tips, from planning your challenge to making sure it raises as much money as possible for children everywhere. Yours, etc., Mimi Gordon, Head of Soccer Aid, UNICEF UK. Can you help fund vital research into cancer? Sir, in the UK, 1,000 people die from breast cancer every month. Most of those deaths are from secondary breast cancer, which occurs when breast cancer spreads from the primary cancer in the breast to other parts of the body. Secondary breast cancer can be treated but not cured, so we urgently need to do more for people affected by this incurable disease. Breast Cancer Now is calling on readers to pledge to raise £1,000 by December 31st. From bake sales to getting sponsored to walk or run, however you choose to raise the funds, you'll make a difference by supporting research, care and campaigns for anyone affected by incurable breast cancer. We need more research. Every day in the lab brings us closer to a future where everyone with breast cancer lives and is supported to live well. Help us get there faster. We must ensure no one faces secondary breast cancer alone. There are an estimated 35,000 people living with secondary breast cancer in the UK, but without an accurate, up-to-date figure, we're missing insight and much needed information about their experiences and outcomes. We need to keep raising our voices. Help us create a future where people with secondary breast cancer get more precious moments with the people they love and to do the things they love. Sign up to our £1,000 challenge today at breastcancernow.org/1000_challenge. Yours, etc. Rachel Franklin, Director of Fundraising, Communications and Engagement, Breast Cancer Now. And that was Let's Talk, the Kirkintilloch Herald letters page. This week's district news: churches. Home Church, Scotland, Lammermoor Road, Kirkintilloch, G66 2AB. Don't copy the behaviour and customs of this world, but let God transform you into a new person by changing the way you think. Then you'll know what God wants you to do, and you'll know how good and pleasing and perfect His will really is. Romans chapter 12 verse 2. Home Church welcomes you to any of our Sunday services and midweek activities as follows: 9:30am, communion; 10am, prayer time; 10:30am, fellowship, tea and coffee available; 11am, worship service in children's church, followed by tea and coffee. The main service is at 11am, is online and in person. One church, Home Church, 4 locations, soon to be 5. Kirkintilloch, North Coast, Northern Ireland, Stornoway and online. A church for all ages. A new location is opening up in West Campbell Street, Glasgow, on Sunday the 3rd of April at 7pm. Wednesday, 6:30pm, home group for families. 7:30pm, prayer and home groups. 7:30pm, online home group. See Facebook and Instagram for up-to-date information. Kirkintilloch Church of God. The Sunday evening Good News service at Regent Hall, Regent Street, remains cancelled for now. We are, however, continuing our Zoom services each Sunday at 6:30pm. A warm invitation to everyone who is able to join us on Zoom. Access details for the stream can be obtained by emailing hello@regenthall.org. Come to the coffee corner at Regent Hall on Wednesday from noon till 2pm for home baking and coffee. COVID safe measures are in place. For up-to-date and further information on our services, visit our website on www.regenthall.org. Jesus said, "I tell you, there is rejoicing in the presence of the angels of God over one sinner who repents." Luke chapter 15, verse 10. St David's Memorial Church. At St David's Memorial Park Church, our morning service on Sunday, April the 3rd, at the usual time of 10:30am, and will be led by our Church of Scotland reader, John Nicholson. During our morning worship, school-aged children will have the opportunity to go through to our halls for their own time of fun and learning with GAM. All are welcome to attend our service. We would ask that you continue to wear a face mask during the service unless exempt from doing so. We look forward to welcoming you to the church. Our Tuesday lunchtime services have now resumed and take place each Tuesday from noon till 12:30pm. All welcome. St Columba's Church. Do join us for our Sunday morning service at 10:30am each week, where we consider to study the Gospel of Luke together. We also have a children and young people's ministry running alongside the service on a Sunday morning, and visitors' children are always welcome. You're also most welcome to our midweek service at 10am on a Wednesday. We'd be really glad to meet you and join you for tea or coffee or juice after either of these services if you're able to stay for that. If you can't come to a service in person, you can still connect to us via live stream via our website on www.kirkintillochstcolumbus.org.uk or by searching for St Columba's Kirkintilloch on YouTube. We also have a full programme of events during the week, including Little Fishies, our community carer and toddler group, and the First Kirkintilloch Boys Brigade. Please see the church website for more details. Reverend Philip Wright, St Columba's Church, Old Isle Road, Kirkintilloch, G66 3HQ. P. Wright at churchofscotland.org.uk. Mobile 07427 623 393. St James Church, Hilton Road, Bishopbriggs. Rector the Reverend Paul Watson, 0141 230 4080. The church is now open for socially distanced services, face masks essential, this Thursday at 11am and on Sunday at 9am and at 10:30am. Everyone is welcome to come along to any of these services. Do stay on for tea or coffee and fellowship afterwards, while regulations permit. On Sunday, April the 3rd, from 3pm to 4pm, there is a session of crafty kids in the church hall. All families are very welcome to come along and enjoy activities together. The meditation labyrinth is still available in the car park for a mindful walk around. There are also virtual services in groups. For up-to-date and further information, refer to our social media. Facebook, St James the Less, Bishopbriggs. Website, www.stjamesbishopbriggs.org.uk. Milton of Campsie Church. We're back in the building, no need to book, but we still show love for one another by wearing masks. Jigsaw, EPIC and Crossover will meet as usual. Next Sunday is the 5th Sunday of Lent. We'll hear about Jesus being anointed with expensive perfume. Send us a pic of yourself holding something that smells nice. Flowers, food, hand gel. Noon Zoom coffee and chat is now at 12:30pm. Contact Julie for the link. And remember the phone number for dial-in service which enables you to hear Sunday service. Just dial 01360 545 345. TIF, taking it further, means 7pm for 1 hour. The baby and toddler group, hobbies club and badminton club all meet on Monday. Time to pray is at 7:15pm to 7:55pm on Wednesday. Baby, anchor and junior sections meet on Friday at 6:15pm. The Messenger magazine is about to be delivered through every letterbox in the village. Holy Week services will be held in the church on Monday, April 11th, Tuesday, April 12th, Thursday, April 14th, and Friday, April 15th at 7pm. On Wednesday, April 11th, we shall attend the service at Campsie Parish Church at 7pm. Colston Wellpark Church. You are welcome to our morning service this Sunday at 11am, led by Reverend Leslie Grieve. Tea and coffee will be served in the hall after the service. The Colston Art Club continues this Monday at 10am to 1pm. This is open to all who enjoy art and good company. The food bank continues its good work and remains open every Monday and Friday from 2pm to 4pm. The Lent Bible study continues every Wednesday at 7:30pm in the church hall. All church organisations and groups are continually working hard to return to normal activities as soon as possible. Catch our church services on Facebook at Colston Wellpark Parish Church, and if you require further information on any church activities, etc., contact Leslie Grieve on 07813 255 052. Kenmure Parish Church. This Sunday we welcome the return of George Kelly, reader for the Church of Scotland, to lead us in our morning worship at 11am. The service will be live streamed on YouTube and can be found by searching for Kenmure Bishop Briggs. Details of all our groups that are now running may be found on the website kenmure-church.co.uk. To find us on Facebook, just search for Kenmure Parish Church. If you would like to join our WhatsApp group or receive the Bible studies from ABC, then email us at kenmurechurch@icloud.com. Lindsay Union Parish Church. Sunday worship will be led by Reverend Dan Carmichael at 11am in the church. Young people are also welcome to Lighthouse and Bible class. A live stream of the service is available on YouTube via our website. Tea and coffee may be served in the hall after the Sunday service. Sunday chat is at 12:30pm on Zoom. Messy Church on Saturday, April the 2nd from 4pm to 5pm in the new hall, an hour filled with fun for all the family. The Meeting Place coffee shop is open on Wednesdays 10am until 11:30am in the new hall. Meet your friends and enjoy a chat over a cup of tea or coffee. Everyone, from the very young at heart, is welcome to join us where we have a good selection of greetings cards and second-hand books for sale. Youth Cafe is open for young people in S1 to S6 every Thursday from 3:45 to 5pm. Games, chats, snacks and activities. The Coffee Pot is open on Fridays 10am till 11:30am in the new hall for teas, coffee and chat. At all events, face coverings are required unless exempt, and test and protect details collected in line with guidance. And that was this week's District News Churches. District News General. Rescue centres reopen. The Scottish SPCA has confirmed the reception areas in its rescue centres have reopened from this week. The charity's 9 animal rescue and rehoming centres welcome visitors back to their receptions, which are open from 1pm to 4pm daily, for the first time since early 2020. Members of the public can chat to the team, drop in donations or get help with filling in the rehoming applications. However, one of the main changes in how the charity operates means the public will no longer be able to access the centres and view animals in the same way that they could prior to 2020. Anyone looking to adopt an animal can view and apply online at bit.ly/3tz uppercase E ABV. Growing tech exports. A plan to help the technology sector reach new international markets has been published. Produced in partnership with industry experts, the export plan for Scotland's technology sector identifies opportunities to build and strengthen key areas, including digital technologies and advanced manufacturing. Following the publication of the National Strategy for Economic Transformation, this action plan encourages better collaboration between industry, the public sector and the Scottish Government to unlock economic opportunities and better promote tech businesses internationally. Trade Minister Ivan McKee said, "Building on a trading nation, our plan to grow Scotland's exports. This plan is one of a series of sector-specific plans critical to delivering our economic ambitions to grow exports to a quarter of GDP by 2029. An export plan for Scotland's technology sector sets out how we can work in partnership with the industry to identify new markets and opportunities, helping to grow the technology we export around the world. Our ambitious strategy to transform Scotland's economy prioritises investment in entrepreneurialism and the development of new markets, and this plan will help ensure securing new trade and investment opportunities are front and centre for economic growth. The Scottish Government, our enterprise agencies, and the wider public sector will work together to support the technology industry to capitalise on our export potential." Shoppers support sock appeal. Aldi shoppers have donated over 1,200 pairs of new and unused socks to support some of Scotland's most vulnerable people as part of the supermarket's Not Socks Again appeal. The campaign, which supported the vital work of 3 charities, Simon Community Scotland, Bethany Christian Trust and Aberlour Children's Charity, called for Aldi customers to drop off any new and unwanted socks they received over the Christmas period. Sock amnesty boxes were placed in Aldi Scotland stores during January, allowing generous Scots to donate their new and unused socks to those in need. Aldi Scotland gifted £250 to each participating charity partner. 4-day week. Introducing a 4-day working week can reduce staff absence and turnover while increasing productivity and the quality of applicants, a new report from Scotland's National Advice Service has found. The analysis by Advice Direct Scotland concluded that business-related improvements at the organisation are a direct result of increases in employee well-being. The charity introduced a 4-day working week for its own staff in late 2018, with workers receiving the same pay for a day less each week. The model does not mean giving everyone the same day off, ensuring a 5-day service is still delivered by adjusting schedules. Advice Direct Scotland was one of the first Scottish employers to introduce the initiative, and to mark the 3-year anniversary of it analysed several performance indicators for a new report. This found 71% fall in employee absences since 2017, while the average number of absent days fell by 55%. The rate of workers leaving the organisation dropped by around a third, while a high standard of applicants over the period was recorded, with surveys showing that a better work-life balance was a decisive factor in their decision to apply. Andrew Bartlett, Chief Executive of Advice Direct Scotland, said, "More workers and employers are recognising the importance of positive well-being, and a 4-day week is a fantastic way to achieve this. Following consultation and feedback processes, nearly all of our staff have reported experiencing both a reduction in their work-related stress and a marked increase in their enjoyment of work-related activities. Crucially, employees are not the only beneficiaries of the 4-day week. Employers stand to gain significantly from the implementation of the shorter week, given the clear evidence of increased employees' productivity. Since introducing our new model in 2018, the 4-day working week has cultivated a host of impressive business improvements and growth across our organisation. Implementing the 4-day working week has been a wise investment for our organisation not only for improving the well-being of employees, but for maximising our professional output and strengthening the organisation as a direct consequence. Shopper support sock appeal. Aldi shoppers have donated over 1,200 pairs of new and unused socks to support some of Scotland's most vulnerable people as part of the supermarket's Not Socks Again appeal. The campaign, which supported the vital work of 3 charities, Simon Community Scotland, Bethany Christian Trust and Aberlour Children's Charity, called for Aldi customers to drop off any new and unwanted socks they received over the Christmas period. Sock amnesty boxes were placed in all Aldi Scotland stores during January, allowing generous Scots to donate their new and unused socks to those in need. Aldi Scotland gifted £250 to each participating charity partner. Reflections on a Joyful New Arrival by Dr. Frank Dunn. It has been a busy couple of weeks. Grandson Rory James arrived 10 days ago. His arrival was somewhat complicated, but thanks to the obstetrics team, his delivery came safely via caesarean section. The time from skin incision to delivery was a mere 3 minutes, and all is well. At £7 1 ounce, he's not the biggest newborn, but he's the first Rory Dunn, and that is something for one of the considered the number of Dunn relatives floating around the west of Scotland, and beyond. Legend has it that the first caesarean section was performed on no less than Julius himself. In those BC days, the mothers had virtually no chance of surviving. However, Julius's mammy evidently survived to cheer him on in the Gallic Wars. The current safety of the procedure for mothers is largely due to Professor Murdoch Cameron, who was a professor of obstetrics at the University of Glasgow in the late 19th century. He applied Lister's antiseptic techniques to patients requiring caesarean sections. Many women then suffered from rickets, vitamin D deficiency, with deformity of their pelvis. Cameron's pioneering work greatly increased the mother's survival chances, which had previously been almost zero. The subsequent support to my daughter-in-law has been first class, with regular visits from the midwife and district nurse. It is good to see firsthand the benefits of paternal leave, a concept which was not in evidence when I became a dad. I undertook my obstetric training at Stob Hill in 1969 in Ward 29, where I was born. As students, we were given accommodation for our 8-week training period. We entered into the spirit of this in a variety of ways. We all successfully delivered 12 wee ones. When the ward was closed in the 1980s, it became the setting for a medical soap known as Cardiac Arrest, which can still be seen on YouTube, starring Helen Baxendale and directed by the now famous Jed Mercutio. I was phoned a few times to advise on medical issues. In return, I requested a walk-on part in a medical soap. My idea was to be a patient in A&E with a head bandage, duly doused with tomato sauce. To my surprise, this was agreed, with the proviso that I had to travel to Bristol for the soap they had in mind. This I could not do, and therefore a promising acting career went up in smoke. By Dr. Frank Dunn.
Gaffer curses Rab's bad luck. An article written by Ralph Mellon. A 3-2 result usually signifies a thriller of a game, but for Kirkintilloch Rob Roy boss Stuart Maxwell, there was just abjective disappointment. The Rabs went down by the odd goal in 5 on Saturday at home to Kilwinning Rangers, with a freak goal and a controversial spot kick contributing heavily to that conclusion. Maxwell couldn't conceal his disappointment at losing 3 goals at home, especially after coming back from 2 down and thinking a draw at least might be the outcome. But a headed goal from an 83rd minute corner kick gave the Ayrshire side the points. Maxwell thought the referee was, quote, really poor, and described a penalty decision against the Rabs after just 3 minutes as horrendous. Later, a long kick from Kilwinning's keeper took a freak bounce and landed in the Robs Roy net to make it 2-0. I asked for a response and, to be fair, I got one in the second half, he said. They were excellent. They had them on the back foot and under pressure. Kilwinning had to change their shape twice because they couldn't cope with how we were attacking them in wide areas. We got back in the game at 2-2, and you think, at the very worst, it's going to be a draw, with 7 minutes to go. I am thinking more likely we are in the ascendancy, and they are all over the place at this point. But then the Buffs went up the park and netted the winner from a second piece. I am just so disappointed, added Maxwell. We were working so hard to claw back into the game, and we won the second half. We also had a penalty claim, very similar to theirs, which was brushed away. Even the consultation of two well-taken goals from open play involved crosses into the box, scored by Chris O'Kane and Robbie Young, wasn't quite enough. Quote, "I could not ask for any more endeavour and effort," said Maxwell. Quote, "We're more than matched them over the 90 minutes, but we can't get going 2-0 down, be it through poor decisions or whatever else. It's fine lines in football, but right now the fine lines aren't going in our favour. I'm just hoping if we stick with the process, keep the effort and endeavour up, and just believe in ourselves a bit more, we can get a wee break. We are a good side. These are achievable aims, and I think everyone who watches us knows we're capable. It's just a frustrating period just now." End quote. Maxwell's side visit Irving Meadow this weekend. That was an article by Ralph Mellon.
Young to benefit from cash fund boost. Former Lenzie Academy pupil Brodie Young is among 20 young Scottish athletes being given a major funding boost. The 19-year-old runner who lives in Christton is one of those selected for important backing from Scottish Sports Aid via a series of grant allocations. In total, 20 Scots are being supported via the fund this year, with 19 of those awarded via Sports Aid Scotland and a further one via Sports Aid in London. The fund supports about 220 aspiring athletes in Scotland across 30 different sports and seeks to help with training and competition costs. Young, who runs for Airdrie Harriers, is hoping to follow up a hugely successful 2021, which saw him win a gold medal in the European Under-20 Championships in Tallinn as part of the victorious Great Britain quartet. He also won his first Scottish senior title, taking the 400 metres crown at the National Championships in Grangemouth.
Big win as Glens maintain perfection. Annan 8, Alan Glens 60. Alan Glens maintained their 100% winning record on Saturday, despite not having played for 9 weeks. COVID has forced the postponement of half a dozen fixtures, and Annan, similarly affected, stepped in to fulfil a previously cancelled match. The weather was ideal for running rugby, and that is just how Glens played it, with excellent passing and support play. It took them only 5 minutes to open their account when Brian Moffat finished off a good backs move and Scott Thompson nailed the first of his 5 conversions. Sean Lennon touched down 5 minutes later when it was the forwards' turn to show their paces. Annan replied immediately afterwards, though, when pressure on the visitors' line allowed Alex Jones to score in the corner, but it was too far out to give Josh Whiteside a chance to add the extra points. 2 Glens tries followed in quick succession, one by Alistair McConnell and the other by Sam Morrison. Annan then scored what would be their last points of the game, when they forced a penalty from a scrum infringement, which Whiteside stoked between the posts. Glen's scrum half, Fraser Moore, was in fine form and scored 2 tries, one after the other just before the break. Immediately after the interval, Moore completed his hat-trick after a break by Russell McKean. Thompson again converted, and 3 minutes later, Glen's winger, David Lowe, finished off another break by McConnell. Grant Clark and Thompson added further tries from Glens through terrific support, play and good handling. This week, Glens take on Strathendrick at the Bear Yards. Sports Digest. Football. Rosvale. Rosvale recovered well from a 6-1 midweek Premier League drubbing by Dreville to progress on Saturday in the Kilmarnock Pie West of Scotland Football League Cup. The Bishopbriggs side made the short trip to Duncansfield Park and defeated Kilsyth Rangers 2-1, with goals from Jordan Logan in 12 minutes and Mikey McWillams when the 90 minutes were almost up. Brad Rodden, Vale's lone scorer last Wednesday against Dreville, missed a penalty 20 minutes from time. This Saturday, Vale visits Blantyre Victoria. Petershill. Petershill play their Scottish Junior Cup semi-final at 2:30 on Saturday. April 16th against Yoker Athletic at Newlands Field. On Saturday, Petershill won 3-0 in a local derby against St Rochs, who had O'Donnell sent off early for pulling down a goal-bound Stephen Docherty. Doc opened the scoring in 14 minutes and Jordan Scott added a second in 40 minutes before Docherty completed the scoring on the hour. The Peasies felt they were denied another goal right on half-time when Docherty's paired shot hit the stanchion and came out, but the referee ruled no goal. Manager Martin Luklin had made 9 changes from the side, which crashed out of the South Challenge Cup last Wednesday, going down 4-1 to Lowland League side Bo'ness United in the quarter-finals. United were 4 up before Evan Galasso fired home an 80th minute consolation for Peasies, who are at Wishaw this Saturday. Ashfield. Ashfield's management took charge of its last game at Saracen Park, home to Renfrew in Conference B. But a goal from Ryan McManus was quickly cancelled out as Renfrew came back to lead 4-1 before Sean Docherty scored a second goal for the hosts. Public notices. Traffic notices. North Lanarkshire Council Town and Country Planning, Scotland. Act 1997 as amended. Town and Country Planning, Development Planning, Scotland Regulations. Notice of intention to adopt a local development plan, North Lanarkshire Local Development Plan. North Lanarkshire Council has made changes to the North Lanarkshire Local Development Plan Modified Proposal Plan, as recommended in the report of examination by the Scottish Government's Planning and Environmental Appeals Division, DPEA, in May 2021. The Council intends to adopt the plan as modified and has submitted same to the Scottish Ministers. In line with the Coronavirus (Scotland) Act of 2020, paper copies of the plan as modified are not being made generally available beyond a reference copy at each of the Council's libraries. However, the plan and all other submission material are available on the Council website. On this page, www.northlan, that's northlan.gov/next-plan, which is NEXTPLAN, one word. Our community councils and all those who committed on the modified proposal plan in 2019 should have a letter or email telling them about the adoption submission. Representatives at this stage are restricted to points of process and law and must be sent to the Planning and Architectural Division. The Scottish Government, Victoria Quay, Edinburgh, EH6 6QQ. 28 days from the 14th of March 2022, the Council may adopt the plan unless directed not to by Scottish Ministers under Section 20 of the Town and Country Planning (Scotland) Act of 1997.
Thank you for listening to this week's Kirkintilloch Herald podcast, brought to you by Q Review Print Speaking to the Blind. If you've any feedback, you're welcome to call us on 0141 772 3976. If you enjoyed this recording, feel free to subscribe to our channel.
Q and Review would like to ask our listeners to remember to return the USB sticks. If we do not receive the USB sticks back, it reduces our ability to send out the following set and keep you updated on local news. To return a USB stick, simply place the USB within the yellow envelope and turn the laminated address label over to show the Q and Review address. It can then be placed in any post box or returned to any post office. Thank you for listening.